Hello everybody, it's Friday night and it is Weekender time, and we're back to once again ease you gently into your weekend with a whole show full of the latest and greatest across the hobby and tabletop gaming industry that's caught our eye over the last few days. On top of all of that, we have a prize from store.ontabletop.com of a Strike Force Agastus. If you want to be in with a chance to win this big beautiful box of Spaca Marines, then you need to be a subscriber to the channel, pop a comment below, and if you can do the socially thing, then that's terrific. Otherwise, sit back and relax, because your weekend starts here. Hello everybody and welcome to the Weekender. I'm joined by Justin, Ben and Shay.
Hello.
We're going to take you on a hobby meander through the news that's caught our eyes this week. There's a lot of interesting news that's caught our eyes this week.
Oh yes, it's all over the place. It's very nice.
Oh, it's very much a shotgun approach.
Yes. Yeah.
Buckshot to the hobby head.
Compared to the sniper rifle of Games Workshop news that was last week, this is the blunderbuss filled with nails.
I don't think you could call that a sniper rifle. Maybe a 105mm mortar.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, that's it was an artillery bombardment of
dustbin
news,
of artillery news on your head. Anyway, before we get into all of that, which there is much, a little bit of news that I want to update people on, because we're not far away from the end of the Sprinkling Challenge, where you too can win cash money / not cash money, just a voucher for the OTT store. If you get involved in the Sprinkling Challenge, there is approximately X number of weeks left. I'm going to say 7.
It's still like near the end of June.
It's
so
20th of June is the end.
Yeah.
We're now 12th of May. You can do the maths. I'm not going to. However, what I did notice when I was crawling through your projects the other day, having a nosy and a poke, as is my want in life, is that some updated projects had been updated as Sprinkling Challenge, but not Sprinkling Challenge 2023, which is the year. Yes. Which means if I go into the contest bit and then go down here, oops, a daisy, you can see there's like 66 Sprinkling Challenge and 306 for the old one. So if you are wanting to take part, if you want us to look at your project to see whether or not you win that cash money, brackets not cash money, just a voucher, then you need to make sure that you edit your project and change the drop down to Sprinkling Challenge 2023,
yes,
or you won't get looked at. I don't care if you've updated this yesterday, it needs to be in this one. That's very important. I really like the private ones, by the way, that people think that I'm not looking at, but I look at them first. Yeah. I look at them first. Anyway, there's a lot of interesting stuff. That one's really good. You should all go and have a look at that one. He's turned his battle reports into a comic strip. I'm not going to look at that now, actually. I'll not distract you. Well, I'll focus. See, laser focus, Justin. Laser focus, mate. Don't worry. Even though it looked like I just opened that and I was about to start browsing through it, which is no point because I did that earlier on in the day. Anyway, Sprinkling Challenge 2023, if you want to be in with a chance to win. Cash money, not cash money.
Still got plenty of time to take part in it as well.
Oh, so much time. So much time. He said, looking at
dig out some old plastic, some old metal, some old resin that you haven't been working on. Get a new coat of paint on it. Build a new army from stuff you've got lying around. It's all good stuff.
And I mean, you don't need to finish your challenge. I mean, it would be great, but if your project is to dust off an old army and you get, 90% of the way through it or 80% of the way, and we just really like what you've done, that's still a possibility of winning. It doesn't need to be 100% spectacularly done, all bells, all whistles. And for some of the things like tutorial and junior members and things like that, obviously, if you get halfway through a tutorial and stop, you're less likely to win than somebody who actually completes a tutorial. But for the other things like skill and stuff like that, we take it as a whole, not as a complete thing. So just letting you know. And now it's time to kick things off with the most important part of the show. It is the Indie of the Week.
Yeah.
And this week's indie, almost not an indie. He's a monumental thing. It's a genre-defining indie of the week.
Yes.
It's like I can't believe it's not indie.
It's like calling Dungeons and Dragons an indie. It's like calling a Hoover a vacuum cleaner. That's what it is.
So. Yeah.
Because it is GHQ. Mr. Scott has been working away since the 60s on a range of 285th scale models, to which he coined the term micro armor. And now everybody uses that term for 6 mil. It's just
I was about to ask you to convert to like younger generation gamer.
To convert to not a scale but a measurement.
Yes.
Well, in that case, 6 mil.
Well, what's the tractor for?
That's I don't know.
You're saying this is from the 60s. Was he predicting the future?
Well, no, because they're still making stuff to this day.
Yeah.
Time is not a fixed construct.
Yeah, he only made stuff in the 60s and just stopped.
And then they just stopped.
No. I mean, prediction as in tractor wars being a real thing in the real world. And truly being a historical thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I just want to say, I want to see someone convert that into a dragster. That would be kind of cool. But
you're not right, mate. That's probably a John Deere right there.
Diane, you want to do a hot rod John Deere tractor?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
You are very strange.
He does do model railroad stuff.
We can't say that too loud.
Scale
Shush.
HU. So my guess would be the tractor, farm machinery and the like are for layouts.
Yes, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
However, there's a whole host of things that's been going on with them for a long, long time. If I go to the collections, you can see what we're looking at. So there are some 10 mil, both Napoleonic and ACW for
Very
posers.
cool. Yeah.
And then after that, we get into proper things from 1/2400th up to the 6 mil. So you can see there a whole host of stuff, World War II and beyond through to modern age.
If you want a tank, they probably have it. So,
and if you want a tractor, sure.
Yes. And you were right. It was the actual model railroad and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
makes sense, really.
Does not look like that should be a real tractor.
Right. Why not? It's clearly a tractor.
It's a little bit Mad Max.
Okay, sure. We do realize that tractors do things on farms like harvest crops and stuff.
Well, I have watched Clarkson Farm, so yeah, even though he got a Lambo.
That's true. Yeah.
Same sort of thing, but you know.
So is this small enough scale for your ACW stuff, Shay, or is this still too big?
Too big? We're going 6 mil, Jerry.
Yep. Yeah. That like I say, this poser skill, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So we have to look at this and appreciate it from afar.
Weirdly, if he'd done these in his micro armor scale that everything else on the site is, it'd be spot on.
That was
true. That would have been straight on here.
Well, I mean, you say he's making new stuff. You could put in a request.
Oh yeah, you never know. Yeah.
I think at this stage, ask them to redo the entire range again, but smaller. I think I know what the answer to that request would be.
Do it again, but as I like it.
Yeah.
No, here's the thing: if he has like a young nephew or niece that's into the 3D printing with a 3D scanner, they could just scan all his stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you even say that?
Because I know it annoys your happiness, and I mean that.
I'm fairly certain that any nephew or niece who came up and started saying things like that would just get a punch in the jaw. They certainly would from me. Remember, it's not child abuse if the question is stupid. But it's just true. It's 100% true. So the 10 mil stuff is, as you can imagine, diverse, covering everything from big artillery pieces mounted on fortifications, all the way through to your gun limbers and the standard infantry that you would expect. There's the Union's Iron Brigade with their very clever hats, which are all fans of that hat in particular. So very much like the slouch hat with the one corner folded up.
Hats in the American Civil War were just perfect.
Oh yeah. Every unit gets their own special hat. That's how you know.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's not true. Most of them got some sort of
The same
terrible
hat.
Kepi. Here's your
Yeah.
Kepi, now get out there and get shot.
Well, here's a question then. So, obviously, if this has been running since the 60s, the range is going to be quite expansive.
Yes.
What are the newest of the new things that he's doing? Is he just expanding existing ranges, or is he moving into new ranges all the time?
Yes.
From what I've both, yeah. From what I looked at, over the last couple of weeks, there's been a whole bunch of sort of like additional things dropped in for pretty much everything that you could think of when it comes to the 6 mil through to the ships and the planes and everything in between. Like they would they basically released, I think it was last week or this week, just a whole host of 6 mil tanks going from kind of like World War II all the way up to the very, very, very modern day, which was kind of insane. So,
I mean, if you think it's almost 70 years worth of sculpting that you're working through here.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a place that you could easily get yourself lost in if you were looking to sort of delve into a collection, I think, which is always nice to have. It's a nice problem to have, as it were. So, yeah. But,
you two can have some Nassau line infantry.
I like that they're individually based as well. That's kind of nice, rather than stripped. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
Strip basing's a relatively modern invention in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Not so massively modern that you won't find stuff that is old enough, but it was for production and casting. It was easier to do individuals,
right?
Especially because of part of, I don't know how old these are. These look slightly more modern sculpts. The initial, like when you look at things like Hinchcliffe and minifigs in the UK, they were an additive sculpt. You would start with a little stick figure, and then you would like use solder to build up features and bits on them. And then obviously
different.
Over time, that's changed as new materials sort of became available. So individual figures were just easier to produce.
It's something I'm wondering about. Back then, what would have been the actual method of casting? Because would it have just been like a metal pour cast, or would they have had the spin casters back then?
No, it would have been pours, I guess.
Pours,
yeah. So
again, that would really inform just what you're able to
sculpt. Like those home kits.
yeah, but on a cottage industry scale.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that obviously I know a lot of people dive into is the 6 mil kind of like big tank ranges and stuff like that. And can we each pick a little section of 6 mil good dust to have a look at? Would that be cool?
Well, I'm not going to pick 6 mil because the thing that's most interesting to me on here is not 6 mil.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to say
one of the ships.
I'm going to say World War II United Kingdom. I want to look at that.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
It's
right there. It's right there. I can see it right there.
Right, you can see it right there. I can't.
Down.
See Canada. I can see
bottom
Japan,
bottom right, Jerry.
Right down there.
There you go.
It's like directing Lloyd around a web store.
See, Jerry sees the first part of that United, and then it's just like, it must be USA. No,
yeah, it's there as well.
I didn't even see it. I was just working my way down.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Interesting stuff that they've been doing with GHQ for a long, long time is that a lot of the miniatures get snaffled up by military.
Right. Okay.
Not just for gameplay, but also for identification of modern sort of armor and stuff like that, which is one of the reasons why they're some of the best detailed stuff. And it shows because people then can use it and you can tell what the silhouette is.
Yeah,
you can work out which figures are supposed to be what in the tabletop, and also then you can use it.
Is that a 4-scale picture below it?
Beside a
quarter
dollar.
That for the UK folks, that would be about the size of a 10p.
Yeah. The thing that it's like when you actually get in real close on these, and you can even see it on some of the infantry as well, actually. It's just how much all the little tiny bits have been picked out for them. Like you can see the backpacks and the helmets and all that kind of stuff as well. And on the tanks, you've got all the additional stowage strapped into certain parts of the vehicles and all that kind of stuff as well. So it's a really awesome little collection of stuff, really.
It's kind of nice to discover that there was someone as crazy as Dave from Hawk Wargames way back when. Well, you know what I mean? Because he was doing a drop zone commander, and it was like, we sculpt the bootlaces on them. It's just like, that's mad, but someone did that before without computer design. Oh god.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
By hand, the proper way.
Yeah, it's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And we'll have a look at things like the LVTs. Any in particular you want to see here?
The Hellcat looks kind of cool.
It's pretty badass. Basically, I have this thing in my head where I really want to make a British World War II army. I also want to make British World War One, but World War II army, and I don't necessarily want to make it in 28 mil. And I always keep looking at smaller scales and smaller scales. Mm-hmm. So I've looked at like 15 mil and stuff like that. But I just love the idea of playing around with stuff like this and using these in games and things. Because also it would be really easy to get things painted. That's the other thing that's going around in my head. I'm like, I'd rather than having to paint a 28 mil tank or like a series of 28 mil tanks, I could just paint loads and loads of 6 mil stuff and play a huge battle on like my dining room table, which is always what I wanted to do. So
looking at the detail on these, it's hard to tell that they are 6 mil from the size of the pictures, but just the level of detail that's in there, and it's so sharp and crisp. Really, really impressive.
How close are those planes to what you get from like Blood Red Skies and stuff?
Way smaller.
Or is it smaller? Is
it is smaller. I don't know if they're way smaller though. I can't remember what size Blood Red Skies is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up now. Because a lot of people have talked about the materials for Blood Red Skies, and I was wondering if this would be better for more detail or something. It's 1/200th. So yeah. So yeah,
they are smaller, but
a bit smaller. Yeah,
probably about a third of the size.
Yeah,
gosh, 2/3 of the size rather.
That's nearly there.
I'll skip on a few pages. You can see some of the extra things they've got in here.
So it's nice to see the painted stuff as well. I really like that.
It's always nice to see a kangaroo.
They'll box you.
No, it's just one of the really weird ideas that they had. They just took a Sherman, took the turret off, went, that'll do for delivering troops.
Wow. I had no idea that I thought that was just them sort of saying, "Oh, this is like a kangaroo base or something." But no,
it was used as an infantry vehicle.
Crikey. Well, I suppose in some ways it's quite heavily armored, isn't it? You just got to make sure you don't pop your head out the top, I suppose. So yeah,
not before time anyway.
Yeah.
So Hawker Typhoon, as you can see, tons of stuff, including Commonwealth troops as well. So
brilliant.
Did I see a Scammell Explorer above?
You may well have done, but you're going to get to pick something in a minute. And otherwise, if we go through 6 pages of stuff, we'll be here for.
I'll leave my pick there then, because these have whetted my appetite enough. It's very cool, very nice.
Go on then. See some Sikhs.
And you can make buildings out of matchboxes.
I think he actually does a terrain range.
Yep.
Yeah, there are terrain. Yeah.
Go on then.
Anyway, nice, very cool.
Where do you want to go, Shay? You've got World War II, you've got Wehrmacht 47, which I don't know how extensive that is, and then you've got the modern stuff.
Maybe some World War II Finnish, actually.
Ooh.
World War II Finland.
I'm going to
put your skis on, lad. Oh.
A lot of their stuff was a mixture of Soviet and German, depending.
Yeah.
That's why he's picked it.
That's exactly why. It's the best of both worlds.
But do they have a ski patrol?
I think I saw some ski guys above, but yeah.
That is what I'm after, some actual Finnish stuff, not just stuff they've raided from the other countries, which is probably most of it.
Yeah.
In fact, it's all of it so far.
If I just go on here, well, that's what happens.
There you go. Infantryman for the winter. Yeah. Maybe they have skis. They do have skis.
Oh, yes.
Shay,
that's my choice, Don. Thank you very much.
Shay, we could do a specific scenario with Imo himself.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very nice.
They're very cute.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Always want a little Finnish army skiing about on a map. Down the side of a mountain.
Well, I mean, at 6 mil, the track would be to scale on an 8 foot by 4 foot table.
Yeah.
Get your ski patrol from one end to the other while high on meth.
It's always
easy.
It's always funny seeing people like bring like a ski army of like Finnish or whatever in bolt action or something to the tabletop, and then they realize you're coming up against your guys from like North Africa, and you're playing on a green mat, and you're like, oh.
These Finnish ski troops in the middle of Germany fighting these North Africans. It's perfect.
Yeah. We ski through the mud.
Or if there's a desert table, dunes.
Yeah, the dune skiing. Yeah. That's really cool, though.
Cool.
I like that. It's really nice that they've kind of done these nice ranges that will cater to pretty much all the different forces that were fighting during the period. So, because that's one of the things that sometimes people can fall down on, isn't it? That you get like all the big hitters, but you don't necessarily get the.
It's one of those things with the range having gone on for so long.
Yeah,
that they're able to fill out the smaller nations who fought as allies.
Yeah, very cool.
You can run over mines with your massive wheelie dump truck.
It's not quite as cool as the Sherman.
There's a minefield. How do we deal with it? Don't worry, I'm just going to weld 2 barrels onto an axle and off we go.
That's what Princess Diana needed. She needed everything.
That would have removed all the mines.
Yeah.
Right.
The People's Princess.
Okay. So what do you want to look at then, Justin?
Let's go, just because I know it'll probably be extensive, let's go with the Great War British Navy.
Ooh.
Okay, so not modern, Great War.
Dreadnoughts, then.
United Kingdom.
It's something I've been curious about, because I always see some of the older folks in the gaming community, playing naval battles at this sort of scale. And I've always wondered, where do I go to get that? How do I get it all consistent? If this has been going for about 70 years, I'm sure I can get basically the entire British Navy from the early 1900s.
It looks like he's got every ship.
Yeah, that's one of the things I always wondered about.
Indefatigable.
Again, so I deliberately chose the British Navy because I knew it was, Hail Britannia, Britannia rules the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Germans were huge over there, though.
Oh,
were they?
They had Otranto as well. That's cool.
Let me see. Nice. That's up.
Yeah, and with the detail we've seen on the other stuff, I'm curious to see just how these hold up.
It's very nice. You've got good decking detail.
Pretty damn good.
Far. Yeah.
Duke of Edinburgh.
Oh, wow, there's even a little tiny. This is how you build your Duke of Edinburgh.
That's old school. I expect that looks like it was printed in a newspaper.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, but with the font and stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to where this comes from in a little while.
Right.
Oh.
Because I'm not going to look at miniatures for mine. Because that'll teach you. Not so clever then.
Very cool.
No, it's a type of gaming I've been curious about through the years, and knowing that this exists, and that I can basically get any ship from that period, and just play out those historical battles would be really cool.
The passenger liner Otranto.
Wonder if they've got Titanic sister ships on this.
Britannic and Olympic.
Yeah, those are the ones.
That would have been World War II. Would it have been?
No,
World War One.
Oh, was it? Apologies.
Britannic was converted into a hospital
medical ship.
Got sank. I didn't see it on scurrying past there.
No.
But then these aren't medical ships. I mean, that was a passenger liner converted, but the other one was specifically just a floating hospital.
Yeah. Very cool.
Cool. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I wonder if we go Great War Germany. Because didn't they have just ridiculous things? There's the Blucher.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of people like these because they're waterlined without bases and all that kind of things as well. So it kind of fits in nicely with a lot of what a lot of folks do, which is quite nice. So
yeah, but it's also that each ship that you're picking has a history that you can just dive into deeply.
Yeah,
which is quite cool.
Yeah.
Go full Cruel Sea.
Yes.
Oh, there's a Königsberg.
Very cool.
Interesting stuff.
I'm in a happy place.
What are you going to pick, Jerry?
Well, I'm actually going to go away from the miniatures and talk about some of the other things that are kicking around on GHQ and the website. So there is a forum, which is very good, especially if you want to see people painting their bits and pieces up. There's a thread that's been going for donkey's ages. It's like 400 odd pages long.
Wow.
However, in the resource section, there's a whole host of stuff. So you've got the modeling guides, which are cracking. In fact, we'll go there first. So you were talking about painting Ben. So they have a variety of these step-by-step with a whole host of things, whether it's painting the actual models themselves. So apply dry brush, color schemes to use. The tarp on the famo was painted on a separate little nail and then glued on afterwards.
That's so cool. The monochrome
awesome
one. I love that.
Doing 6mm camo.
So really nice, simple explanations of how to paint. The micro armor, especially if it's not a skill you've played with before. If you're looking at it and go, well, I paint 28mm, let's try that, and then you go, I've spent too long on these one figure and I'm ripping my hair out. So it's nice that they've got these included.
Definitely,
as little guides for you to sort of sink your teeth into. And then they also do the terrain bits and pieces as well, because they do. Well, we were talking about dunes earlier. We'll have a look there. They do a range of hex terrain and additional terrain as well. They do a whole variety of buildings to suit any pocket.
Love it.
Bonus.
Because that's one of the things I think for a lot of the time you'll see a range and you'll see how nice it looks. But then coming to the painting of it, you're like, oh, how actually do I approach doing this? And then if you've got someone with as much experience as they have and their community has, diving into these different kits and stuff, this seems like a really nice little resource for you to come to and basically just indulge yourself, really. So
I will very briefly just throw on the terrain there before I skip on to the next bit.
Very good. Yeah.
Because there's
also 6mm terrain, nice and easy to paint as well. Couple of big block colours and away you go. So
but again, it's been running so long. It's
where's my Russian? There we go.
Orthodox Church.
Do an Orthodox Church.
That's cool.
And again,
very nice.
Absolutely corking. They also do paper buildings. So
nice.
If you want to keep the budget down, then you too can just dive in and pick up the paper building and just print it.
You too can be Peter Dennis.
Yep. Which is a cracking way of doing it because you can really fill a table very quickly. And the whole point of micro armor is the exactitude of the game that you're playing. I know we sometimes briefly skirt around the idea between games and simulations. This started as very much a simulation. How can you put World War II on the tabletop and how can you replay it?
Right.
And so having a 8-foot or 6-foot wide table filled with a couple of regiments or battalion or whatever it happens to be, and then 3 houses, and go, those 3 houses are X town. You're going, well, it's not really though, is it? So yes, you can pick up the metal models for specific things, churches or whatever, but then you can also at the same time just go, well, I'm just going to print out a dose of these, filling a table.
The fact that it's
pre-colored
in that sense as well is great. So you're not having to sit there and,
all you need to do is break out the
like
Pritt stick. Yeah. If you've got a pair of scissors and Pritt stick, you are good to go.
Everyone's developed their Pritt stick skills at school. So
what is the hill made out of? It can't be paper, can it?
It could be, but in this case it's not. I think it's polystyrene.
Okay.
So,
but there is a little guide on the second page for how to shape the hill, I think. So
sandpaper. Sandpaper is your friend. But so the paper buildings, papercraft bit is great. There's a load of stuff there. There's also in amongst these a chunk of stripped down versions of the rule set.
Okay.
So if I go in here,
the beer and pretzels version.
It's still a relatively comprehensive game because it's not just about casualties and wounds. It's about command and control,
right?
Which is a sort of a running thing throughout all of these. So this is a 8-page version. I think this one is specifically for armor. So they've stripped out the infantry rules.
Yeah, I think it says tank game. Yeah, tank game. Yeah.
So they have a more simple version of it, but it is about that idea of command and control and strategies that you apply. So things like initiative and whether or not a order is carried out effectively. It uses ground scale and time scale as well. So a turn is 3 minutes in real world type of thing. So you have these things built in, and
I'm guessing it's not as like exacting as Rattenkrieg or anything like that.
I don't know, but the author of Rattenkrieg reached out and went, I live in a boat now somewhere in the Med, and if you want a copy, I will post you on.
They did,
so I'm looking forward to that arriving.
There's going to be a big old book arriving.
I'll keep an eye out for it.
Anyway, so they have this, and they have various versions of this. So you've got the micro squad, micro armor.
They have the Micronauts one as well for Justin to have a look at.
Yep, for World War II. The ACW 10 mil, they also have additional scenarios and stuff. So bits and pieces you can add in. But within each of those, you'll see various things like how the game works, additional bits that you can download for quality of life. They also have things like these. So when you were saying about
table of organization and equipment.
So these, I imagine, would have been printed out back in '94. But I mean, this is a goldmine. So between this and the painting guides and stuff,
oh my days,
you can actually, and this, I don't know how accurate this is now, because when they did the original one, they were constantly updating this. So you can see the actual full breakdown of what went into the battalion, who was there, how many of everyone was there. How many people did you need to peel potatoes? 5 cooks. 2 for the officer's mess. 1 cook's helper. 2 truck drivers.
And then you must have 22 basic privates helping you.
Yeah. So mess. I mean, I would say you don't need it, except if you were playing a scenario where your base was being overrun, possibly outflanked and overrun, so they're not expecting it. Well, you know who's going to be back home.
Yeah. How many privates are still on base that could be given a weapon to... Yeah.
Or in the case of some of those, they're armed, like the truck drivers and stuff are armed anyway. But we get past that and you get things like, here is the actual 1944 armored infantry battalion breakdown. So you can see what goes into it.
Wow.
Now, obviously, these are all free bits and pieces. They sell full rule sets with all of the breakdown in there as well. But there's just so much to dive into on the GHQ side beyond just the miniatures themselves. They've built it up over a long time, and it's a absolute chock full of resources and figures alike.
We've barely scratched the surface.
Haven't even touched the sides, like a mortar on an M8. Anyway, that's our Indie of the Week for this week. We're going to take a swish and return with the news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
Okay, we are back for the news.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kicking things off with Star Wars.
Yes. I would have thought we'd talk about this last week, but
we were mildly besieged last week.
Mortars and all that kind of thing.
To be fair, it was probably better that we didn't speak about it last week because, as one person pointed out, Tim, their social media manager doesn't seem to know how social media works, and they announced stuff after May the 4th.
Hang on. He's maybe a stormtrooper.
Missed.
Again. Missed the day. Oh.
Very good.
So we wouldn't have got all of the news.
That's true. We would have missed out some of the most important stuff that we'll see later. But yes, starting things off, we had a couple of new announcements. Well, not new announcements for the general public. A lot of this stuff had been talked about at Adepticon and things like that. But we got a couple of additional previews coming out for Shatterpoint, which is the new sort of 40 mil big scale Star Wars skirmish game that they're working on.
Star Wars Crisis Protocol, yeah. So we're starting off with the Jedi Hunters Squad Pack, which includes the very well-known Grand Inquisitor, who a lot of people will know from Rebels, and of course popped up in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Or as someone pointed out in one of my quite awkward typos, I'd written Obi-Wank Kenobi, which was quite funny. But I wasn't going to reference that. But...
Thanks, Ben.
But this comes with the Grand Inquisitor alongside Riva, she's undercover at this point, I guess. Spoilers. And then you also have the fifth brother and the fourth sister in there as well as your Jedi hunting pack of Sith followers ready to crush any Jedi they come across. I really like the sort of way that the Inquisitors have been added into a whole bunch of stuff, like they're in the Jedi video games and all that kind of stuff as well. So it's been really nice to see them coming down. And there's an interesting mix between, well, actually, I think the look here is very much in line with the Obi-Wan Kenobi design of the characters, where they're looking a little bit more human-like, as it were, as opposed to where often we've seen them look towards the slightly more cartoony. It'll be interesting to see how those aesthetics actually look once you start to see everything put together on the tabletop, because obviously one Obi-Wan Kenobi might look a bit different in style to another one and stuff like that, even though they're the same character. So we'll see how that goes, I suppose. We also got a look at a duel pack that's coming out. So this is like a big kind of fancy set. That does cost you an arm and a leg, but
sorry, I couldn't resist.
Yes. So this comes with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi from the TV series that we were just talking about, and their skirmish on Mapuzo, as Darth Vader is basically laying into Kenobi and chasing him around all over the place, or probably in a quarry somewhere in their filming location, which is probably where it was.
Yeah, probably more like that.
It honestly looks like wherever the hell that little Jawa stores his stolen bits.
Yeah. The set obviously comes with the big scenery piece there, which, you know, is a display piece more than anything really. But I suppose you could kind of ingratiate that into your terrain if you really wanted to, just change the kind of way that it sort of forms around the base, I suppose. But as you can see, the models can be taken out of their slots, so you can use them in the game as well, which is kind of nice. And obviously comes with 2 nice miniatures in there too. So.
I have issues with it.
Yeah.
Mostly because, well, Obi-Wan as a TV series was bantha voodoo. but if you're paying that much money for specifically for 2 miniatures for a game, a display piece is nice, sure, but make the terrain usable in the game.
Yeah, make it with a flatter base.
I mean,
or something.
that's probably 50 quid of the 90 quid price right there, because I'm assuming they're going to charge £20 per figure.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you're paying 50 quid for something that is going to get leashed in a corner.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people actually display their stuff, and how many people put it in a box somewhere? Not everybody's got cabinets and stuff, and that just seems like a massive waste of money.
All right,
there.
Just make it more gameable. Yeah.
Is this the only place you can get that version of Vader and Obi-Wan? Or are they separate? Okay.
There will be other versions of Vader.
There'll be other versions.
Oh, no, but
God knows how long you have to wait. But at the moment, if you want them, you're paying nearly a ton, and you're shelving most of it.
If you want old Obi and
well, no, it's just because something like this. Yes, it's nice to have it, but if they make the character separate and you just want it for gaming, this will never sell.
Well, people love stuff like this, though. So
I imagine we won't see Vader and Kenobi for a while, which will therefore force people into this Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Interestingly, they did share some additional previews of what's coming up later down the line for Shatterpoint. So we are going to get Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader in their own sets. They're also doing Ewoks, if you want to go down the route of the original trilogy.
Where's my baby Yoda?
They're also going to be doing Mace Windu set, Plo Koon, one of the best Jedi, the Night Sisters, Cad Bane is going to be coming along with some Bounty Hunter brothers, and then you've also got Padme Amidala and her handmaidens if you want to go down the prequels route as well, which is kind of cool. So they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. They haven't fully previewed those with lovely pictures yet, but they were shown off at Adepticon, so they are coming around the corner. So something to definitely watch out for.
It's an unusual. I don't know if these are going to be released in this order that we're seeing them, but it's an unusual way that they sort of seem to have jumped around, because the initial box is Clone Wars, and then the first expansion boxes we're seeing is Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series. So not even the film stuff. It's just where are we going? You don't know. We don't know either.
When I originally saw it, Sorry, go on, Justin.
It's maybe whoever's trying to do the approvals at Disney is just like, yeah, you can do that. I like that one. I don't like those. Go back to the drawing board. Oh, I like that one. Do that one. Go back to the drawing board and that one.
God.
Approvals through Disney, I'm sure, must be an absolute bollock.
Yeah.
But yeah, some interesting miniatures coming up for Shatterpoint. They're definitely laying the groundwork for the game to have a consistent shelf life, at least for the next year or so. So be very interesting to see how it plays. Apparently, it's very good. It has a little bit of a combat tree, which reminded me of what we talked about last week in Arena Rex, Jerry. So maybe they've been doing some sneaking around the internet, but there we go.
Shocking stuff.
Sticking with Star Wars, we also have a long-awaited release coming up very soon for Star Wars Legion. You're able to yub-nub as loud as you can because the Ewoks are coming to Star Wars Legion. Jerry won't have to come up with rules for them now.
I've already come up with rules. I think mine are probably better anyway. These little things will just get stepped on. My rules worked on a multi-base. And we've seen them do multi-bases now, where you've got multiple droids and stuff on the same bigger base to account for multiple wounds. And I think that's the way to do it.
So this
is the trick.
They'll happily do Ewoks, but still no Gungans for me.
No Gungans yet. No Gungans. I'll talk about that later, but this set comes with the way that this breaks down, there's going to be 3 box sets that are coming out for these. So the first of these is the unit expansion. So that comes with the 6 Ewok warriors. So you'll see them on the sides there. And they are your kind of core units if you want to be running a lot of Ewoks on the tabletop. You get 6 of them that can be armed with spears or slings, and then you get 2 kind of specialists. So in lieu of a heavy weapon, because that doesn't exist, you get Ewok with an axe, and then you can also get an Ewok trapper as well, which will go alongside your unit. So that's your kind of specialist, your personnel. And then you also have the character models. So you've got Logray and Wicket as well. So you can throw them into your games and actually have the characters leading the way. And as you can see, they're commanders. They're not operatives. You can run an army of Ewoks.
Now, here's the thing. Ewoks did have heavy weapons. It's called a log.
That's true. That is true. Yes.
You can run an army of Ewoks.
You can run nothing but Ewoks.
Is the question.
Yeah.
Have you seen the pricing for these?
I have not seen the pricing for these.
These 2 figures,
yes,
have a retail price of over £40.
Nope. I'm out.
Wow.
I'm out.
It's like 20, or no, sorry, it's over £36. It's like 30 or something. There's essentially 16 quid each for these 2 commanders.
Also, I'm sorry to say this, but if you're wanting this, I don't know if it's still a huge thing, but you're probably going to end up having to order these from stateside, and then good luck with your import.
No, there are people out there who
I think a lot of
the UK.
Yeah, a lot of stores have got I think they've got a handle on their shipping now.
Hopefully,
and stuff. But
there's your core box of 8.
Yep, so that's your 6 warriors and the specialists.
Yeah.
But how do you even do upgrades for Ewoks? A rock and a twig?
Well, their upgrade cards come in a range of special characters that people might know. So you get cards for C-3PO and Chewbacca, because obviously, the Golden God. And they are getting added in as well. So you can have C-3PO on your side fighting alongside you, if you want, I suppose, as a nice aid. And then, of course, you can have Chewbacca, because who wouldn't want Chewbacca on their side? But that kind of leads me into the 3rd kit. So they're going to be re-releasing the ATST Walker, but this is kind of like your Forest Moon edition. Because it comes with 2 additional character models. So you get 2 pilots. So you get Chewie doing his kind of like cheer from the top of the ATST. Yep. Or you can also get General Vise as well if you want to throw him into the mix, which I think is kind of cool. I wanted to see a couple of like Ewok hanger-ons or something. That'd have been kind of cool, or whatever.
That would be cool.
I also want to see someone 3D printing a whole bunch of these and smashing them with trees. That would be really nice. So,
see, I kind of want to do a diorama with that Chewie figure just poking up from a bush behind a pair of stormtroopers, just going.
About to bash their heads together.
Shy surprise.
Yeah, but So all your kind of command cards and upgrade cards and everything like that come in the different sets as well. So if you are looking to pick up some Ewoks and you've been waiting a very long time for them to arrive as part of the Return of the Jedi suite of releases and that kind of thing, then you now have access to them to fight out your battles on the Forest Moon of Endor. Not Endor, the Forest Moon of Endor. So, yeah.
I wonder if that's a new kit completely,
I wonder if they've gone to the hard plasticky thing for it, maybe.
I thought it was hard plastic in its last iteration anyway.
Oh, maybe it was, because I only know the floppy one.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if that's just a new sprue with the commanders.
It might just be that. Yeah,
I think you could open the doors anyway.
Yeah,
time will tell.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, going back to Gungans, I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. Where the hell are where's the Gungan army, man? We've seen the droid army done, to the nth degree. Where are the Gungans with their big creatures and their balls of voodoo or whatever?
Using the boomer.
Yes, the boombo. That's it. Yes,
I don't have a boomer.
Yes, exactly.
I think I was going to say the excuse would be that they only ever fought on one planet, but then Ewoks set a precedent now.
Exactly. Yeah. You've done Ewoks, man. Get Jar Jar and the rest. Get Darth Binks in there. That's what we want.
I wish they had followed through with that.
Yeah.
It would have been a frightening thought in the grand scheme of things.
And that's why it would have been good.
Yeah. So moving from a slightly shiny sci-fi future to a grim and horrible one, we look to Wargames Atlantic, who have announced that they are, at the end of May, going to be bringing their first Gamefound crowdfunder to fruition. So this is a crowdfunder for The Damned. They are working to create a whole host of new hard plastic kits for you to build an army of corrupted, twisted, chaos worshipping, rad infused, mutated guardsmen for you to use in your games. Maybe some Warhammer 40,000, maybe something else, maybe some more paid rules, whichever way you want to go.
I just need a massive dark and dirty trench board.
Oh, yes.
With Gaunt's Ghost rocking in through.
Yeah. So the initial information that we've got on this so far going to be spread out over a couple of different kits. They're going to be doing a kit for infantry, which will be kind of like your bog standard troopers with a whole range of different rifles and head options and bodies and that kind of thing. Similar to what Wargames Atlantic have done in the past, big packed sprues, just chock-a-block with things. And you can see some of them there. There's also the brutes, which are your big, burly sort of ogroid types sort of charging into battle, no doubt using some of the skills they learned from building the the ogres with their great swords last year.
The Vane are great.
Yeah. You've also got the heavy weapon crews as well, so they're going to be doing, as you'd expect it for heavy weapon crews, they're going to be doing one that kind of matches all the kind of classic weapons that you'd want. So big, heavy, bolter style weapons, rocket launchers, laser cannons, melters, plasma, that kind of stuff as well. They're then going to be doing rough riders as well, or as I think they're calling them, outriders is the key word. So that's what they're going to be doing for them. Again, going to be a big plastic kit. So you get your plastic horses with their gas masks on, and then you get the riders charging around at the same time too, which is kind of nice. Explosive lances. Very nice.
Those are terrifying, by the way.
Yeah. And then not pictured here, but they're also going to be working on a big tank kit. So they're going to be doing a big vehicle for you to drop into the game as well, which will be really nice to see. Yeah, we've been having a little bit of a chat with Wargames Atlantic. May or may not be able to show you off a few more of these in a little bit more detail in the near future.
I really want to get the actual kits in to actually see what they look like in plastic.
Just have to wait until they do the crowdfunder are hopefully successful with the crowdfunder, then deliver it.
Yeah, but we have some sneaky peeks, which we'll go through in the next couple of weeks, which would be very nice. But they're also working with mini wargaming as well. They're also working with mini wargaming as well. So if you're interested in checking out some more stuff of these, make sure to watch us and them at the same time.
Yeah.
And,
I do like that the big guys in it aren't just like armed with melee weapons. They've actually got some like proper guns.
Yes. Some nice stuff in there.
No point in bringing somebody who can lug heavy stuff around if you're not going to get them to lug heavy stuff around.
Yeah, exactly.
This is fair.
Yeah,
exactly.
Here you carry this. We're not putting it on a gun carriage anymore.
We've run out. Bothered. You are now the gun carriage.
Yeah.
They killed our horses.
If you want corrupted guardsmen, Games Workshop, sorry guys, Games Atlantic have beat you to the punch to do a full army anyway. So there we go. Very cool. Nice stuff. Can't wait to see more on that.
Yeah. Terrible, terrible, filthy guardsmen. Terrible, terrible.
Die in your droves, men.
Filthy stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Speaking of trenches, though.
Oh, yes. Going from grimdark to grimdark, even more grim. Tuomas Pirinen. A lot of people might know his name as the creator of Mordheim, alongside such luminaries as Priestley and Cavatore and the likes. He has said that he is going to be bringing a new skirmish game to the tabletop, and I can't wait. It's called Trench Crusade, and it's set in our own world around sort of 1914, so sort of World War One. And the idea is that our world has been invaded by the powers of heaven and hell, and they are fighting on the sides of both forces and everyone else in between. And now you are going to be building up your own little warband of desperate fighters trying to survive in the trench-ridden lands of blasted Europe, diving into big narrative scenarios and all sorts of different things like that.
Haven't we seen this before? Something very, very
We have seen this before.
Oh, so specifically this. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, just that it was familiar. It was just like, am I having deja vu? Am I having a stroke?
I have never seen this before, and I want it.
Yeah, so last year, Brass Monkey Games, which was James Sheriff, kickstarted the creation of the Trench Gunner on Kickstarter. It was a 32mm miniature.
Right.
And that was based on the artwork of Mike Franchina, who's done the pieces that you see here. I think if you go to that next one along, you'll see the old miniature that we saw. So that was the Communicant and the Anti-Tank Hunter. So once these had been designed, everyone loved it so much that they were like, hey, Tuomas, could you make a game? And so they're going to be turning this into a full-on awesome 32mm skirmish game for you to dive into and have some fun with. It looks grimdark. It looks weird. I love the addition of this kind of like heaven and hell element. I think is really awesome because it'll really build on that kind of religious imagery and stuff that we see in games and things.
Here's a fun fact. If Tuomas Pirinen stands beside me, that's roughly what you see.
I'm just going to say it right now. Dibs on the hell side.
Oh, well, yeah. I really liked the artwork for the guy in the with the priest who looks like he's covered in all different types of crosses from other variations of Christianity.
Yeah, and it's like, you know the way you see in a Catholic church, the pictures down the sides of the aisles of the crucifixion. It looks like he's just went into one and just stripped some bits off the walls and went, right, this is all holy. This is holy armor. I'm feeling good. Let's go.
Stations of the cross.
Yeah. Very, very orthodox.
Yeah, these are more Byzantine icons and stuff.
Not fair, but
he's definitely been asking people to lend him a hand.
What was the saying? Any hand that is raised against us shall be swiftly cut down, and now apparently nailed to a board for bonus.
I love this. I don't know what it is about the weird
side helmet thing,
multiple eye thing.
The Hey Arnold helmet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it reminds me of like an old diving bell helmet that that did have like multiple windows for the person to look out. It's just like this time they went a different direction with the concept.
The thing that's really nice about this is that because they've set it in kind of like that World War One period, you still had people rocking around in chainmail. I mean, obviously it was for a lot of the kind of like trenches and that kind of thing, but that kind of vibe works really well with the kind of medieval stuff that they're going with here. And I'm utterly fascinated to see what they do and where they go with it, because the potential to throw in like demons and angels and all that kind of stuff as well will be really fascinating. Especially if they go down that kind of classic way. But yeah.
I mean, I really want to see like a big massive hell brute with an artillery piece on its back.
Well, in the brief sort of synopsis about it is the Crusades kicked off, as the Crusades are wont to do. Yeah. And then the Templars in Temple Mount dove a bit too deeply and accidentally opened the gate to hell. And so the Crusades never finished.
Mm-hmm.
Humanity has continued with an open gate right there that they haven't been able to close up yet. So you've got this, 800, 900 years
of just constant
hell. Constant madness going on in around the Holy Land, while the rest of humanity tries to get on with things behind it. I'm impressed they've advanced so far. with constant demonage being an issue for you.
I mean, let's be honest, most wars are what drives all technological advancement.
That's true.
That then becomes converted into civilian usage.
Yes, I'll grant you that. But then at the same time, generally one side runs out eventually. Whereas the infinite pit of hell, theoretically, I suppose resources shouldn't have continued for humanity at that stage. You should just be stuffing people in there, peasantry and all abound, as quickly in there as quick as you can.
With Pirinen behind this, I think it's going to be very cool. He's obviously got a keen eye for the Grimdark, and he's very passionate about his kind of Blanchitsu stuff and that kind of era of Games Workshop and Warhammer in general. And so bringing that over to something like this, I think is going to be very, very awesome. And I can't wait to see where they go with it. Really nice.
Just all that and still very, very small. Wow. Right. Who's up next then?
Next up, we're moving to Steamforged games. Something a little bit more lighter and jolly, I suppose. So they have opened up pre-orders for their new board game. So they're doing a board game for Sea of Thieves is the next one they're working on. So anyone who's a fan of Sea of Thieves, the awesome kind of open worldy pirate adventure game, can dive in and have some fun with this. It's going to be playable for 2 to 4 players. And the idea is that you do pretty much what you do if you were playing Sea of Thieves. You start off with a little tiny sloop and you head out into the big wide world and cruise around the islands looking for treasure and adventure and completing quests and delivering cargo and battling megalodons and leviathans and krakens and everything else in between, all while trying to not be destroyed by fellow pirates and skeletons and stuff like that. So
see, can I parkour onto an enemy vessel, go down below, pretend to be fixing the ship, and then go rob them?
I'm going to say in your mind's eye, yes. So if that's what you do when you roll the dice or whatever to take on a ship or something, then yeah, that would be cool. Or play your cards or whatever. But obviously this has got all the other elements of Sea of Thieves in there as well. When you go out and you get loads of loot and treasure and that kind of stuff, you could bring it back to port. You head to the outpost board and you'll be able to buy new crew, you'll be able to upgrade your ship, your weapons, actually get a better ship and everything else in between as well, which seems really awesome. Steamforged Games have been working on licensed stuff for a while now, and they seem to have got their eye in with a lot of their different board games, and this one seems really cool. It's pre-order right now rather than going to Kickstarter or Gamefound or anything like that, which is really interesting as well. So they've clearly been working on this in the background for a little while and bringing it to life. It'll be very fun to see how it plays. As a fan of the old Merchants and Marauders, I say old, it's not that old, but the old Merchants and Marauders board game where you got to essentially do something very much like this, it'll be fun to see how streamlined and quick this is to play. Apparently, it only takes about 120 minutes to dive into. All board game times are a lie, however. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like. But I know you guys play a lot of Sea of Thieves. Or played a lot of Sea of Thieves? Are you interested in this one? Giving it a go?
I'm assuming that's aimed at other people.
It was aimed at Shay and Justin.
Because I've never played.
I was giving Shay his chance.
Yeah.
I don't play Sea of Thieves.
I thought you'd play. Who am I thinking?
Lloyd.
Oh, it's Lloyd.
I have looked at it and I have watched other YouTubers play it, which is how I've seen things like the cool parkouring from one ship to another to rob them after pretending to be a member of the crew.
Yeah. So basically, what I need to do is swap you guys out for Lloyd. But
well, you see, it is an interesting concept. It's definitely a game that was big when it came out. So I think, it's definitely one we should get a closer look at if we get a chance to talk to Steamforged.
Yeah, maybe they'll have it at UK Games Expo this year. Very nice.
We'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
I wonder if the fact they've gone with standees and just releasing them direct without going through crowdfunding and stuff and bothering with miniatures, because I sometimes think, especially for board games, miniatures are, I'm not going to say detrimental, but I will say unnecessary for the game itself. Yes. But people seem to get so focused in on we must spend 3 times the cost of the actual board game production on miniatures for it, instead of just going, you know what, we've got a really good board game here. Here's some counters, meeples, or standees. Go nuts.
I'm currently painting miniatures for Frosthaven, right? In a game where it's primarily standees, why do I have to paint these plastic miniatures? Can we just all have standees? That would be nice, wouldn't it? But anyway,
again, it's the whole thing of drawing wargamers across and away from wargames into board gaming to let them play more games, experience more worlds. They still want their miniatures.
True. Greedy bastards.
Anyway, thanks, Ben.
Just can't trust them.
Anyway, moving on from that, a couple more pieces to just dive into. Some quick stuff for Warlord Games and Blood Red Skies. The Wing Commander supplement is now available for you to download. Well, pick up and download and stuff like that. So this is the new supplement from Andy Chambers, who has curated a bunch of rules from the community and kind of expanded on what you get when you dive into the game. This contains a whole set of new rules in there as well for you to have a look, play around with, including some additional stuff for Mig Ali, which is the kind of Korean War take on Blood Red Skies. There's also ways for you to build up your campaigns and create your own campaigns as well. And you'll find additional stuff in there, like huge list of like plane profiles and breakdowns of the different craft that you would have had during the period as well, which is quite nice. And there's even a full updated FAQ and errata section in there as well, which I think is quite
solo
nice.
enemy flowchart,
and also a way to fight against enemies in solo games.
Yes.
We also got a whole bunch of new releases as well. So for the World War II side of things, we have the Heinkel HE111H Squadron, and there's also the B-26B Marauder Squadron as well. So if you're looking to throw some bombers into the mix, you can do. There was also an Ace for those playing in World War II with James Farrell there as well, which is quite nice. I think he was the guy. Let me just check it out. Yes. He was the guy who was his nickname was Boss, but his plane was nicknamed Flakbait.
Sure. Good.
Because it collected so many hits during his combat missions.
That's what
I mean.
It's Hot Shots Part 2 naming there, really, isn't it? Walleye and Dead Meat and stuff like that.
To be fair, though, he did manage to fly 207 missions by the end of his tenure. So pretty damn good, even if his plane was full of holes.
I mean, hang on. At that point, it's less bad luck, more a numbers game, because if you go up often enough, you're going to get hit at least some of the time.
That's true. Yeah. Also got a couple of Korean aces as well. Well, Korean War aces for both the Americans and the Koreans. So you've got James Jabby Jabara and John F. Bolt, who are your hotshots for the US side of things. And then on the other side of the equation, you also have Gan Yong Duk and Zhao Baodong as well. So if you're looking to get stuck into a proper clash in the skies over Korea, then you can definitely get your fill of that. Interesting one on Zhao Baodong. He was nicknamed the King of Air Combat by Mao. And also, he would put himself at risk in G-induced blackouts in order to get a proper shot on the enemy. So if he had to like flip his plane over and do a big dive or something like that, he would do it and be on like just the edge to get the right shot. So, you know.
Or maybe that's just
nothing
it's
on
kind of fun.
Keeps him out mischief and off the streets, I suppose.
I'm very interested in Blood Red Skies, and I really want to dive in and play it in World War II, Battle of Britain. Oh,
no, Ben, you're in a plane. You don't dive out the plane. You might dive in with the plane, but don't dive out the plane, okay?
What if I'm Tom Cruise and I can do that? No, okay, I'm not Tom Cruise. No.
Tom Cruise was a German in World War II. Do you know nothing about history?
Yes, he was blowing up Hitler.
History works. It's all based on Tom Cruise. We have one final bit of news. A little bit of old / new / whatever you want, depending on how you feel about these things. Mantic have announced a few things of late, which we haven't really looked at. And I thought, since there had been new stuff, I would.
Jerry's been sneaky weaky.
Yeah. So
sneaky
a little while ago, I found some pre-orders on the website before Mantic announced them. So I stuck this together, which is new hard plastics and resin models for Nightstalkers. And then a few days ago, Kyle did a little video for Mantic explaining what sort of stuff was going on. So these are replacing the old PVC Reapers that came out for Vanguard, which were a single build miniature, so it was monopose across the whole 9 yards. Interesting thing about this is it makes both the Reaper but it also makes a Tormentor, I believe, regiment, which is a new unit. And this was one of the things that Kyle mentioned in this little video here. There's lovely Kyle. He's also trimmed his beard back, same as me. Shame we were going to have a beard off. Anyway.
So does this mean I'm not allowed to trim mine?
If you want to join our beard off, then yeah.
Three-way beard off.
Three-way beard off. So Reapers are the rippy fish of the Nightstalkers. They get in there and just go completely ham on you. The Tormentors with their exploded faces, the hinged jaw, looking like something from Blade 3 with the Goss or whatever it was.
It was 2.
Was it 2? There you go then. They are actually a jumpy flying unit, which is interesting. So they don't fly per se, but they can leap over intervening troops to get your backline and mesh up. So that's a nice, interesting change up to add that unit to the faction. Other thing they've done is because they've been very keen on multi-basing pretty much since day one. They're doubling down on that. So instead of going, this is a troop with 10 men on a base, a lot of people were only going for preferred model count, sort of two-thirds of the unit size, so they could do something more extravagant. Mantic are now embracing their own concept themselves and go, right, you're not actually getting 10 models here. Instead, you're getting, I think it's 8. Well, this is regiments, or 16. But they fill the same footprint, but it means they can go for more elaborate style of build. Now, they won't do this with every model, but for something like this where they should have multi-limbed freakiness going on, it makes more sense to have them being more dynamic, more stabby, more leaping out of the unknown and ripping your face off. So that I quite like. It's an interesting take on things and a new direction. They've done it with a few of the other regiments as well. I think the Phantoms, which again are going from a single pose, creepy, floaty thing to being multi-based. And also these ones are going to be resin, so it keeps the price down for people. Right. Although there will be ways and means around that, which we'll talk about in a little while. Other new plastic kit coming is the big, terrible Butchers.
The Butcher board.
So again, going from PVC with, it was a one build kit, but there was an alternative arm. So not everybody had to have, there was a choice of 2 arms, but it meant essentially you had multiple things repeating. They've gone with hard plastic, and because they're hard plasting it, they're also dropping another unit type in, which are these guys at the back with the screaming hand cannon mouth fist arms, firing globules of nightmare goo all over you, which are going to work similarly to the boomers for the ogres. So a large infantry, short-ranged attack unit. They are dropping the current ranged unit from the Spectres, and the Scarecrow / Spectre kit has been renamed as Scarecrows and Doppelgangers. So that actual ranged unit is being removed from the Nightstalker list.
All right.
Which came as a bit of a shock, but I don't think many people are going to miss them in the grand scheme of things, unless you had a horde of them. And I don't think anybody really bothered with hordes. You're probably better off running them as doppelgangers, and the ranged aspect is folded into that new unit for Butchers instead. So what?
Cool.
Oh,
I like to think that those Butchers.
Oh no, I was going to ask if they were, overpowered or just poo poo.
Oh no, they didn't really do the job.
I was going to say, I think the Butchers is what with their arm cannons are what Karens turn into in their final form.
Their final form.
Yeah.
You're probably
careful,
not wrong.
Dan.
There's also new resin Shadowhounds coming for the Nightstalkers as well, which are delightful. Again, Zoom Pups, they're great. Two-headed, faceless or eyeless beasts coming at you out of essentially the dreaming. Morpheus needs to rein his nightmares in, because it's causing issues for all and sundry. But these will all be packaged up. They get released on Monday. That's when mine are due, because I pre-ordered them in April. So I'm hoping they'll arrive on Monday and not just be posted on Monday, because that'd be really annoying if I have to wait extra days.
Whoa, that looks like a big boy.
Yeah, it is.
Lurker.
So the Void Lurker is a terrific bizarre thing. It's like somebody's given a tremor wings and just let it go and creep out on people. Voidlurkers are excellent.
I'm going to get you, Kevin Bacon.
But there,
it does look very grabby.
Yeah. But the interesting thing with this release for me, and Kyle covers it in that sort of rules preview, is the fact that they've got the Mantic Companion, the app, which is available for free. It means they can do tweaks outside of the annual book.
Right.
So they can go ahead and release a new plastic kit with new units and just add them, and people have access to them right off the bat. They've also changed things like the rolling ball of tentacles and mouths. The Terror is particularly good at nomming its way through infantry. Whereas before it kind of did a similar job to the Voidlurker, and then people were going, the Voidlurker's better. Why would I take the Terror? They go, well, if you take the Terror and you're attacking infantry, it's going to have 20 attacks. Or if you're rolling over them from the flank or rear, then it's, doubling or tripling those. It will make a mess of big horde units very quickly. Nice. So a nice change up from what's coming. They've also said that this will be a similar style of thing for the future. They've got a lot of stuff planned to come out this year beyond the Nightstalkers. They're also having a Northern Alliance refresh later on this year. So at the moment, there's certain Northern Alliance bits and pieces that are in PVC that people haven't been able to get Huskarls outside of the Mega Army and stuff. So I'm expecting things like that to either come out as plastics, or they'll fold that stat line in with something else that already exists, like the Clansman, and then go, well, we're going to go in a slightly different direction for it.
When are they going to refresh the elves, Jerry? When do the elves get a time in the sun?
Elves don't need a time in the sun. They're all racist. But the Twiglet King, who are the nightmare stalking racist elves, they're getting a full release at the end of this year. And because the Nightstalkers also appear as part of that, we looked at them in Dungeon Saga Origin. There was some of the concept art for the new Twiglets. They come out as a proper army this Christmassy time. So I imagine November, and then we'll see that. So that will be interesting. Another thing they announced about 2 weeks ago was Armada joined the Mantic app. So the companion app has all the rules, and it's also got list builders in there as well. But they've partnered up with a group called Warhol, and Warhol have released Armada on their tabletop-y, desktop-y type thing. So you can play against people all over the world. It's like a tabletop simulator style game, so you can set up a password protected
and game
where you can just go
Armada,
in. Or you can, well, actually no, because they play Ninth Age and stuff as part of Warhol, so you can play full tabletop battles. But this is what they've done here. But you link your Warhol account to your companion app, and you can list build in the companion, and then just import the list straight from the
that is
the app itself.
That's nice.
That's cool.
Very nice.
So you don't have to sit there and cut and paste stuff. And then, as you see, when you click on something like the big dictator here, you get the stat cardinal in the corner, and then you've got your ship here that you can then start playing out your games already there. So I think they've imported the Mantic STLs,
and then just done them,
and then just colored them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which is how you've got all of the boats for the boating kicking around in there. And there's a whole slew of things you can do, like you would with any tabletop simulator game. I can roll some dice. One, of course. There you go.
Anyway. Jerry rolls are always Jerry rolls.
But you can also do your rolls based off the cards here by clicking. So if I click on that cannon, it will automatically roll the correct dice for that cannon.
Did that just put down a fired token as well?
Yep. Otherwise, how would you know that you fired? And your
but it's nice that it does that touch of housekeeping for you.
Functionality.
Yeah. So this could be interesting. I believe they are planning on running a tournament-y event type thing.
Ooh.
I know Warhol has different levels you can go in at. You can like buy a subscription and get extra stuff and blah blah blah. The Armada is currently free to play, and I think it's going to remain free to play.
Awesome
on this, at least for the foreseeable. I haven't seen anything about actually costing me cash/money. I will say you can download a program, or you can play it in the web browser. I tried to play it in the web browser. Don't try that. Just go ahead and download it. It will still open the web to play online with other people, but I found the web browser very slow to maneuver, and the models and the like were a bit.
That was a little janky.
It looked like somebody had taken these ship models and then just covered everything in a fine layer of plasticine. It looked very soft and it lost a lot of detail, and then everything just crept along. Whereas, because the first time I looked at that, I was like, no. And then I thought, you know what, I'll give it another go, and realized I could download it. And when you download it, it actually seems to work quite nicely. So, yeah, lots of stuff from Mantic. That's the end of our news.
Yeah.
We're going to come back with some 3D printing stuff. So it might not be the last you've seen of Mantic. Okay, we are back to round out the show. We're going to take a quick look at some 3D printing. Yeah. Wow. Obviously, being the man with his finger on the pulse of 3D printing, this one's all on me.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, Shay's had some issues recently.
Shay always has issues.
Nobody is as gifted as John. You can just make things work. That's the thing. So,
either that or John was so annoyed that Shay was just trucking along quite happily.
He smashed his printer.
Pat him down, make sure he's not carrying like a nail on him or something just to scratch the screen. But yeah, Mantic this week have announced the Vault, which is a thing. This is the thing. It lives here on the Vault. See how they've done that. And it contains apparently high quality gaming war STLs. Now, they don't come supported. That's something that people have to do themselves. I'm assured that is something that people can do themselves. I really do.
Yes.
I don't really care what you do with your 3D prints. Anyway.
All you have to do is find the lowest hanging point on the miniature from its orientation and go, one there.
There you go.
Stick one in. So, it has just launched, so there's not a huge amount of stuff. However, thought it worth pointing out for a couple of reasons. Reason the first, if you're already paying for the Mantic Companion app, which has got all the army lists and rulebooks and stuff in it,
right? Numbery bits.
You can get this at a reduced price, and there's an early bird which stacks on top of that, which means you can get all your rulebooks, Army Builder, and a subscription to this for $9.98 a month.
Oh,
that's everything. So it's like this is half price. The monthly thing is like
cool.
£4 a month, and that's not just like your first 6 months are. That's in perpetuity. If you subscribe and stay subscribed, that is the price.
Grandfathered.
That is the price you will pay. If you unsubscribe and then come back again, you have to pay more. So, be that as it is. It contains both miniatures and additional miniatures, add-on bits, as what the kids would say. So, May's first one is interesting. Essentially, Mantic built their company on it's a cheap way of building your armies. And then people went, we don't want PVC and stuff. It's too cheap. So they started doing resin, which is beautiful stuff, really high quality. I have quite a lot of it here. I've got tiny little halfling bombers here. But that's not cheap. The resin is expensive. So this is their way of going, well, a lot of people 3D print. So if you want to go ahead and 3D print stuff, you can do that. And every month they'll have a different grab bag, a selection of stuff. So May has Armada. So essentially what you would get in the Armada fleet box for the Orcs and the Basilean. So you've got Gur Panther, Gunbrig, a Lohai, and a whatever the other one was called, I can't remember, and a little sloop. And then the orcs have got their rippers and gunboats and blood maulers and festy ships and stuff. Anyway, that is their names.
Ships, yeah.
Fisty ships. It's got 2 spinning fists, and you push it towards the opponent, and they spin around, rotate like a windmill, and fist their ship off the table.
Like
it's great.
Bart and Lisa Simpson in
100% like that. But it means if you want to start playing Armada and you've got a 3D printer, you can get the rules for free. You can build your lists for free. Then you just print out your miniature and then start playing. At the moment, if you want to buy these ships, these packs, it would cost you like, I want to say it's about 90 quid for a full fleet. So maybe 50-ish for this and then 30 to 40 for the booster. Presumably you can make these ships for less than 90 quid. I don't know.
Basically, the resin cost for those miniatures is going to be pennies. And then the other thing is, if you want to do multiples of the same ship, you've paid for it once. Go nuts.
So, as you can see, the ships are there now. Somebody who knows what they're doing has already gone ahead and downloaded these and said the triangle count is like 150,000 for one of the sails. So these are the CAD designs that they use for the resin masters. They are ridiculous, so ridiculous that somebody has printed some of these ships, some of the very small ships, at 28mm scale without any loss of detail. One person went, if you want to print these on an FDM, there's the triangle count, which I imagine is something like a poly count. It's not like in gaming.
It's a polygon, yeah.
So it's that high that you could probably print on an FDM for terrain and still have really, even though you're expanding from something that's 1/600 scale, you can expand it up to 1/56 and not lose any detail on it.
I mean, if you wanted to do some of these that way and then have that as like a filled out port on your Mantic board for like Kings of War, that could be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Or just go crazy and play it at 28mm scale.
I'll do that, yeah. That'd be neat.
Yeah. Other thing is, they haven't even released any terrain for Armada yet. In fact, they're on pre-order this month.
It's on pre-order right now.
Yeah. But here are some ones that aren't on the pre-order yet. So little sandbanks and stuff. These are to replace the 2D cardboard sandbanks and reefs and stuff from the set. So if you want to 3D your table up, you can do that. But this is fascinating for me here. So they are aeronauts for the halflings. They're not as filth as when the beta list was out, but they're still quite filth. But that resin set is like 45 quid if you want to buy a set of 3. Likewise, the Riftforge Orc Hellstrikers are also 45 quid. There are 3 Manticore riding orcs that you can have for your army via the medium of 3D printing if you don't want to buy the resin stuff, if you're a 3D printy head person. So this is the sort of the plan, is that the expensive resin add-ons and parts, they're not going to do the full miniatures because these are add-ons for the hard plastic halflings that they sell. But if you are buying the hard plastic halflings and you want to have a unit of stalwarts, and they are melee 4, which means they're elite for halflings. So I would always suggest you do want to have halfling stalwarts. You may not want to have a double-handed weapon. I like my high defense, but things like that, having your poachers, upgrades for your wild runners, whatever it happens to be, or your
that's a really cool idea.
Your Kniggins, then you can do it here. All of the resin stuff for old fogies like me is staying. It's not going away. So even though I could potentially get somebody to 3D print these, I'm just going to continue just buying the stuff, because why waste my time when somebody else can make it and ship it to me?
There is one change I want to make.
How life works. Yes.
For that dirigible.
Yes.
I want to change all those weight bags into like kitchenware, so pots and pans, because it is a halfling.
Yeah, you can do that if you want. There's nothing stopping you, because that is just decoration, just to make your 3 in your regiment look different. Interesting thing here, and I don't know if other people do that. Is it on this page? Yeah. No, maybe. Yeah. You can see it here anyway. I like this little breakdown of what it is, whether it's a full model or a part model for an upgrade, what it's an upgrade for, what game it's for, images, and then the download at the end. I don't know if tribes and stuff do that. I haven't really seen
breakdown.
Yeah.
Although I'm seeing something at the top there, a little freebies thing.
Yep.
So what freebies do they offer?
So, well, there are two. So if you subscribe or sign up, I don't even think you need to subscribe. You just sign up for the page. You can get two of the ships, so the Blood Runner and the Gur Panther.
Yeah, I like that. It lets you test out, are the STLs good enough, or will they run out well on your printer?
And because those are the ships that are meant to have all that detail worked into them, that'll be a good test, a good test of how they come out as well. So.
Yeah, but I always like a little try before you buy on 3D printing stuff.
Yeah.
Because, if it's something that's just not going to work with your system, you've tried, it failed, you're not out of pocket.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Before we have a look at the...
there's a roadmap.
There's a roadmap. So that's what we're at this month. In June, the booster fleets for those Basslane and Orc. So you can round out, that will be at that by the end of June, or June 23rd, you will have access to every ship except the XLs, I think. So more than enough to build your fleets in a whole variety of ways, plus War in the Holds. So War in the Holds is the Goblin versus Ratkin Kings of War starter. So that, presumably then that's the resin heroes from that.
I guess so. Yeah.
And possibly some of the resin upgrades for things like the Goblins and Ratkin.
That'll be the same for the Shadows of the North.
And Shadows of the North is the Nightstalkers that we've seen earlier, and the Northern Alliance. So again, there are some unique resin pieces in there that are only sort of available in that box set or Mantic Direct. So I like that you know what's kind of coming, because I know some of these tribes and stuff, I'm not going to say it's seat of the pants by some companies, but sometimes I feel like they don't know what they're going to be doing.
Whatever they feel like
next month until they reach the last day of this month.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question. Whenever that June 23 comes around, does the stuff that came out in the May disappear off this, or is it just there in perpetuity?
I don't know if it specifically disappears on that date to be re-added later. They said none of the packs will go away. If you're not a subscriber, you'll have to pay a bit more if you want to go back and pick up something that wasn't there.
Fair.
Or if you don't subscribe and just want to buy them as and when you see them, they're going to cost you slightly more.
That's fair.
But I don't know if it automatically rolls over to that pack now being available for everybody, and this pack is now available, or if there'll be a delay in between. I don't know how Compure works. Don't ask me questions.
No worries. I was just curious.
I don't know how this works.
I don't know how any of this works. The welcome pack is going to be expanded every month as well. They said every time they add some new STLs, they're going to chuck something into the welcome pack. So this will grow over time. And currently there are some wacky bits and pieces in there. I have this guy. He's a delight. He's like, when he prints it this big, he's a bigger up version of a Abyssal character who should be carrying a tiny Abyssal on his padded cushion. But they made a big dice, which you can then put on top to mark your turn. It's a turn character. He just sits at the end of your table. It's great. I've got
that's brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant. Idol of the Dice God.
Yeah, and absolutely. I was going to say absolutely pointless. Really handy, because actually, by the time we hit turn 4, we normally forget what turn it is. And when you're playing a 6-turn game and you're on, is it turn 3? Oh, I haven't turned it over since turn 2. Oh well, it's definitely not turn 2.
Oh no, trust me, I've felt the joys of that, Jerry. When you forget it and you've been recording a game.
So there's a little fat guy. There's this carnivorous walking plant. I have no idea where this has come from. Who made this or why it exists?
It reminds me of Little Shop of Horrors. Feed me, Seymour.
It's got some sort of pinecone-like center as well.
Yeah.
It's a walking, talking, munching thing.
Yeah.
And again, currently doesn't exist anywhere. So it's not just going to be
a fun new thing to add into the game.
Models that exist that definitely are out there. There's some extra little bits and pieces.
So these are things they thought to create and then never got around to making the molds for.
Yeah, these are trap tokens from the original Dungeon Saga. So the others, it looks like a stone slab, and when you flip it over, it shows you what trap you've stepped on. So it could be a pit, could be a cage, could be some buzzy things coming out from the side of the walls or darts into your face.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Which is, good. And then Ronnie the Bard. If anybody didn't get Ronnie the Bard, you can now get Ronnie the Bard. Everybody needs him. Ronnie doesn't want anyone to have them.
Secrets.
Yeah. Presumably
What do you think? Someone snuck that file in there?
Yeah, I imagine so. Because I know he's not a fan of Ronaldo the Bard popping up and everywhere. And yet, fan favourite. If only Fisty Glue Man made the cut, would be right up there. GCPS Medic as a thing that doesn't exist currently, which is kind of nice to have. And Goblin Sniper for Dead Zone, which is great, because a lot of people have been criticizing you can't get a Goblin Sniper. And the Goblin Sniper they did do a while ago is PVC, and he's running with the sniper rifle above his head as if he's being shot at. So it's actually nice to see a goblin in the new style
with doing the do.
Knows actually sniping like what nature intended. Subject 901 for your Plague and Maison Labs. He was a previous metal model. Again, I imagine he's probably being resurrected for reasons. I should really resurrect him for my Plague, to be fair. I've got them already, don't worry. And then the Riftforge Orc Storm Giant add-on parts. So you need the giant kit, but the massive resiny arms and head are in the welcome pack. So that is
very well detailed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really digging this idea that, those things that they maybe couldn't afford to make because it wouldn't sell well enough, they can put in here. So they don't have to go through that whole process of make the molds work right, hold stock, post it out. Now just send it here and you can get all those missing lovely little detail bits that you always wanted.
As per what Wargames Atlantic have been doing as well, it's just a great way for them to do a test ground for things. So if they have like an interesting idea, they can be like, should we make more of these? And then if it's it's going well, then sure.
With the exception of one or two wee bits and pieces in here currently, like that carnivorous plant, which apparently is good for D&D and Pathfinder, if you say so, Sonny Jimbo. I've no clue what that is from or where it's from or who spawned it.
But it's just something weird.
Yeah, but it's interesting that they've decided to go that way. But everything else is already available. Everything else, most of it is already available and will remain so for people who don't do the 3D printing. But if you do the 3D printing, it's a good way of getting into it. And as Ronnie himself said, the idea is hopefully this will bring the cost down for people and also expose more people to the Mantic games and models as well. So things like Armada, with the exception of printing the stuff, you've no shipping. You don't have to buy the rulebook or anything else. You can do everything as long as you get your hands on some D10. You should be good to go, and everything else you can download and print. So if you happen to be sitting in Timbuktu or in Dudley, it doesn't make a difference as far as accessibility to the games go.
Nobody in Dudley knows what lights are, to be honest. They're all still using candles. So.
All right, so the idea of a 3D printer is some form of heresy. Burn it at the stake as a witch.
Yeah, pretty much.
But there we go. I just thought I would let you know that exists now. And if you are a Mantic fan and you're looking to get into it, you can get a discount or a fairly substantial discount if you're already doing things like. We don't even have to already be a subscriber to the app. You can buy it as a bundle now, and it'll give you that at half price in perpetuity.
Did you win one of our prizes? Find out on our prize claim center over at OnTableTop.com. Here we list all our previous prizes and those who have won. If you see your username, fill out the form to claim your prize. All prizes must be claimed within 30 days.
Right. We have a couple of Kickstarters before we kick off.
Yes, we shall rattle through these. We have two to dive into. The first of these is a board game. So it's an expansion to a previously released legacy board game by the folks at Direwolf Digital. So a lot of people will remember the board game CLANK. which is an awesome dungeon delving adventure board game where you try to delve deeper and deeper into a dungeon and sneak away with as much treasure as possible before causing noise and awakening the dragon down in the depths. Well, they have iterated on this since with CLANK in Space. But then they also went and created a legacy version of the game alongside the folks who created Acquisitions Incorporated, which is from Penny Arcade, which is the very, very well-known role-play series and comic that's been going on for a long, long time. Since back in day, before actual players were big, when they were down in pit. But anyway, this is an expansion to CLANK Legacy number 2, which continues the stories of Acquisitions Incorporated with a new collection of different characters. You're going to be thrown into the mix with 4 new heroes to play as, alongside an unfolding campaign that, as the name would suggest, is legacy based. So as you go through, you'll be visiting the different locations, collecting loot and completing adventures, scratching things off on cards. Make sure you've got a coin at the ready. Otherwise, you'll never reveal your secrets. And then there's also that book of secrets there, as you can see, which will contain all of your unfolding story as you go through. The basic mechanics of CLANK still remain. You're still moving from space to space. It's still a deck building game. You're still sort of going down and trying to find all sorts of different things, fighting enemies and stuff like that as you go from room to room, or in this case, location to location, trying to see if you can survive against the different bosses that have been included in the game as well. As you can see, they're going to be working on a few more of these as things continue with the campaign. The other thing that's nice about this is that in a similar style to like Pandemic Legacy, once you've finished the storyline, that then gives you a game to play that'll be unique to you. So how with Pandemic Legacy, when you finished that game, you had your own unique Pandemic board, which you could just play normal games of Pandemic on. With this, as you go through and you complete the storyline, just like with the first game, you'll have your own CLANK board that'll all be sort of ready for you to play your regular games of CLANK on without having to do the storyline bits and everything as well, which I think is really nice.
I do wonder, do I have to have completed the first game before the second one is able to be played?
I don't think so. I think you could probably dive in with this one and have fun with it. It seems fairly kind of like expandalone, if you know what I mean, because it is a direct sequel almost. So rather than it just being an expansion, but I mean, you might get more from the story if you play the first one. So yeah,
maybe. But I wonder if you would have a very different experience playing with these new characters through the first game before having customized it.
Can't believe they did that.
Just redacted everything. Spoilers, man.
it did say.
Yeah. It's definitely one to go and have a look at. If you like the basic mechanics of CLANK and you enjoy the game, then this could be a really nice kind of stepping stone for you to enjoy more of those mechanics, but with a new setting and a new storyline with sort of well-known characters from D&D actual plays and that kind of thing as well. But also, as you can see there, you can get your hands on previous versions of the game as well. So if you want to have a look at things like CLANK in Space or CLANK, then you can also do that, which is good. CLANK in Space is very good. If you've not played the sci-fi version, I would heartily recommend it. But then definitely have a look at this one as well. So yeah, very cool. Nice stuff.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, interesting. I do quite like Penny Arcade. I've not seen enough of them in forever.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you get to a certain point, there's just too much to do, and keeping tabs on what they're up to is too tricky for me these days.
Their comics are still great, and they've been recently getting into Warhammer 40,000 and all sorts of different tabletop games as well currently. So they're joining the miniature people.
But they've already joined the miniature people. I have Gabe and Tycho for Dreadball.
Oh, cool.
Because they were made as Dreadball characters for the Kickstarters.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
I must break that game. It's a corker of a game. Yeah. I don't think they're in the second edition rules, but I remember getting absolutely slammed at that game as James L. Hewitt watched over me at a playtest event way back in the day.
See, I just always remember when we did Dreadball Academy, Warren going for the fancy shot. He's almost won the game. He just needs to make this one. Let's play for another 40 minutes.
I'll teach him.
That's the way it goes. Yeah.
Right. So going from the very modern for the kids back into the old-timey for the me's.
Retro. Yeah.
All about the me.
So it's a Jerry starter.
This is Crooked Dice. They only have a couple of days left on this one from the time you're watching it. This is their funding for the new hardback rulebook, the core rulebook for 7TV. So as a lot of people will know, they've been expanding 7TV over the last couple of years. They came up with their own kind of like core set of rules that you can get your hands on. And then they've been doing successive kind of like program packs since then, which all focus on different genres and different TV shows and all that kind of stuff, and different scenarios and miniatures they've been working on it. But this is them kind of condensing everything down into the one book, as it were, to give you a good entry point into what 7TV is all about. Essentially, if you've never seen it before, it's like you're playing out classic TV shows and movies from like the 60s, 70s, 80s or whatever on the tabletop with a range of miniatures that you will be very familiar with once you start to kind of take a closer look at it all, which is really nice.
I'm laughing that legendary director is a paid add-on for your production.
Yeah. You also have you can play out sort of individual shows if you want and just play through an episode of a TV show that you've come up with in your head. Or as they've included in this one, there's kind of like a narrative kind of season arc they've done. So you can play through linked scenarios to play through like, oh my God, this was the first in a 3-parter. And then you come to the final solution at the end of it and all that kind of thing, which I think would be really awesome to dive into and have fun with. But
Shay, is there any old TV show you would love to get onto the table with something like this?
Old TV show.
Yeah, I know old for you is like middle age,
early 2000s.
Okay. Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan is.
It's very doable.
Oh, Blazing Saddles.
I bet you could do that with
Saddles.
This.
Yes,
100% you can. Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be that old. It's literally you're just recreating TV / movies.
Yeah.
So all those weird and wacky miniatures that I've collected over the years for reasons. You can just go ahead and now I can justify putting them on the tabletop. And blending the genres. I mean, you're talking about Blazing Saddles, that bit at the end where they start fighting and they smash through set after set. You could do that. You could set your sets up, your movie set, and have your cowboys fighting their way through a stage musical and anything else you want to do.
You could do Night at the Museum.
Wonder if we could get Sam and Dean miniatures, Jerry, for Supernatural.
I have Sam and Dean miniatures.
Do you?
Yeah.
Hassle-free.
Yeah.
I need a set of them. Send me the link once we're done.
Hang on. Do they do their dad?
No.
Oh, sadness.
They don't.
But I suppose if you just get Negan.
There's no Felicia Day either, unfortunately, but there we go. So
no, but it's doable, and the whole concept of different archetypes and stuff you can see there. It is literally any genre you can think of. So fantasy, adventure, action, historic, horror, sci-fi. It's all available. It's all good to go. It's nice to see the hardback reappearing.
The thing that's nice,
got the options there.
The thing that's nice about it as well is that the core rulebook will contain like a huge list of profile cards for all the different characters that you might want to use in your kind of typical games. So you saw there was like a James Bond style character there or whatever. There will be a James Bond-esque spy for you to add in. There's Anchorman and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. So
it's all great. It is all great. And it's, and the 7TV range that Crooked Dice have put together is phenomenal anyway. So you can pick up a lot of that, as you can see here, if you want to do your James Bond-esque spy thriller, if you want to do your swashbuckling,
Indiana Jones,
Saturday morning serial, you can do that. If you want to go full on Hawk the Slayer or Krull,
Hawk the Slayer. Oh God,
that is Hawk. Yeah. Terrific miniatures and a really fun set. And people have expanded on it. I've seen in the past. Obviously, I've seen Scooby Doo. People have done that.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a while.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Star Wars. There was a fan Star Wars version as well.
There's Danger 5 miniatures. There's Captain Scarlet. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's
Could I do Jason the Wheel Warriors?
Yes,
I bet
if you can source the miniatures. Yes,
sorry, go on, Jerry.
I was just going to say, when you've got other companies out there as well making things like Tangent Miniatures doing the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You can just draft those in because the rules here for 7TV just let you go nuts. Whatever you can think of, you can play those things out. Or if I'm sitting, for example, I know there are Prisoner miniatures for the classic TV series. There was a book, I think, written by Patrick McGoon, book/graphic novel that was years later. It was what had happened post the island, called Shattered Visages. And that I could potentially play out the end of Prisoner that we never got, except through comic form. I can play that on the tabletop, which is just great.
I was going to say as well, they are also going to be working on what they call genre packs for the game. So this kind of locks into what they've been doing recently over the last couple of years with the help of like university students and stuff like that. So they're going to be doing the first set is going to be 80s. So it'll just be all 80s style TV and movie pack for you to use. And then they're going to be doing inch-high spy-fi, which is kind of like your James Bondy stuff. Apocalypse stuff, so post-apocalypse zombies. They're doing they're doing fantasy and also pulp as well in the future. So they've laid out a roadmap for what they want to do. And each of those will come with their own specific set of scenarios for you to play out, and also a new set of profile cards for your different characters as well, which is really nice.
I just need a set of gun-running bikers who are mildly anarchistic and all are also sons.
It's all doable. It's all doable.
So yeah, definitely go check this out. Not very many days left on that one, but it is well funded, as you can see.
Both funded. 2 days left for 7TV and 2 weeks left for CLANK 2. That wraps us up for another week. I hope you go on to enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to bake slowly because apparently the sun has arrived here in Ireland and it's killing me.
It's time to burn.
Yeah. We will be back next Friday for more of the same, or you can join us over on tabletop.com for our Sunday morning XLBS show where our Cult of Games members have to listen to Warren by law. You can join us for a 30-day trial, and it can be a trial. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.